Hey everyone, Kaitlyn here from Reading with Kaitlyn. Can you believe it's already February 18th? Time flies when you're reading a good book, or about 15. Today we're diving into a combined January and February wrap-up, sharing all the literary adventure I embarked on these past couple months. Buckle up, bookworms. Let's start with the numbers in January and February. I managed to read 16 books, which a good chunk of those books were audiobooks, about 11 of them. And I would say about 5 of them were physical copies. So, without further ado, I'm just going to go through and list all the books that I read for both of these months. So, starting out in January, I was in my Brutal Birthright series, which is a mafia series that I was reading by Sophie Lark. The book that I'm going to be talking about is called Savage Lover. It is the third book in the Brutal Birthright series. This was my first book for January. And it embarks on Nero and Camille's story. So Camille was kind of a badass. She was like a mechanic, a very feminine energy. And Nero, it embarks all on him being the mafia, him being the bad boy. I really love this story because, for one, I love Sophie Lark. I've read a couple of her books. And for two, I really love the illustrations in these books. I was gonna see if I could show you a picture. I love that she does this because it really gets you thinking about what the character would look like. Okay, so on down the list, I also read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I listened to it on Audible, but I just really wanted to get into more audiobooks, and that embarked me on this journey of reading a lot of these books that it probably would have taken me a while to get to. So I listened to The Housemaid, and let me tell you, that book was crazy. So it's about this maid who starts working for this family, this rich family. She starts working for them, and basically she just came out of prison, and she can't really find no other job besides fast food. So she goes to work for them, and some crazy shit starts happening. And without giving too much away, let's just say those people aren't who they seem to be. And it goes on such a wild ride. You have to read it to find out. But I love that book so much. Alright. And so, alright. Third on my list is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. It's a football romance. And that one also had a plot twist that I was not expecting. Noah Riley, honestly, is one of many of my favorite book boyfriends. I love him so much. So it follows Noah and Ariana, and kind of a little bit of a love triangle. But so Noah is the captain of the football team, and Ariana and he falls head over heels for Ariana. It's kind of, there's a lot of found family trope in that book. I honestly love their relationship so much. It was so cute and such a good dynamic. Like, the way they fell in love and like their banter and their love for one another was so good. I honestly was like, when they did the plot twist, I was like, no, like, what? And you'll just have to read it to find out. But this book literally had my heart ripping in half. It'll make you cry, but in the best possible way. Alright, so fourth on my list is Broken Vow. So this book right here is also part of the Brutal Birthright series. This one is it's mafia and cowboy romance and bodyguard all wrapped up into one, and I loved it. So if you know, I love Bodyguard, and I love, like, I've never read a cowboy romance, but like this one, I loved it, especially including it with the mafia. So it's about Riona and Raylan. And so Riona is a lawyer, and Raylan, but her family is in the mafia, but she's not part of it. But like someone ends up trying to kill her, and she needs a bodyguard. So Raylan is the perfect man for the job, and this book, so they have to like go to his home city in Tennessee, and they basically have to like hide out there, and it was so hot. I loved it. Okay, so next is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I love the book too, but like read on your own accord because it is taboo. Ex-boyfriend's father. That's all I'm gonna say. But I love me a taboo book. Honestly, I would never do it in real life, but in a book, say less. So next is Den of Vipers, and that is also a mafia book where her dad basically sells her to, like, he owes these mafia people some money, and instead of like giving it to them, he was just like, oh, you can have my daughter as payment. And these 4 guys basically kidnap her that are in the mafia, and it's a wide choose book. She gets with all 4 of them. Read, find out. Crazy stuff happens in that book. But I really did like it, but like, check trigger warnings. Definitely do that. Alright, and so honestly, my favorite read of January, if you've been following my channel, you know, is The Loser's Duet by Harley Ruru, also the novella, The Dare. And it honestly was just my favorite book, still is my favorite book, because it was a spicy book, it was a wide choose book, it was all those things, but it was also so deep and so like real and emotional, and the freaking mental health line in there was everything. So it follows Jess and the 4 guys Manson, Vincent, Lucas, and Jason. And they're kind of like the losers, the not so popular kids in school. And she was the most popular girl at school. And she kind of makes fun of them. So years later, when she comes back into town after college, they get an opportunity for her to owe them a debt, and it's just like, and then eventually, they form a bond, they get a relationship. It's honestly so good. You should read it. But like, some of the stuff is also so deep and meaningful. I cannot believe I was reading a spicy book. Oh my gosh, I love those books. But check your trigger warnings, you guys. I honestly don't read trigger warnings. That's just me though. If you're a person that needs trigger warnings, definitely read trigger warnings. But like, not much triggers me, so okay, so I'm gonna go on to my Lecrae book, which he is a Christian rapper that I love, and his book was called I Am Restored: How I Lost My Religion But Found My Faith. That was just kind of a book about his life, but I loved it. And then we're gonna go to Pen Pal, which that was very much, it was listed as dark romance, but let me tell you, it was more like dark thriller paranormal, because what? Anyway, so it's about this girl, her husband just passed away, and it kind of follows from the funeral. So it follows Kayla, and her husband Michael just passed away. And kind of like these weird stuff starts happening in her house. She like, her lights start flickering. She hears knocking at the door and there's no one there. Stuff like that. And so she hires this plumber, or no, electrician. And so he can, help fix or find what's ever going on with her house. And she ends up hiring this guy named Aiden, who is the main love interest in this book. And I freaking love their relationship. It was so sweet. It was such a good dynamic. Also, he has the filthiest, that man has the filthiest mouth on him I've ever seen. And I loved it. We're here for it. He washes her hair. I was thriving. And then, so there is a very important plot twist towards the kind of like the middle kind of end of the book. I was crying, legit tears. I was crying. I was shooketh. I was everything. Once you read the plot twist and you realize what's happening, you're like, what in the actual is going on? Because the thing that you think is going to happen is not. You will not guess what's going to happen, because why would they do that? Alright, so next we have That Sick Love by Jessie Hall, which is a stalker romance. But hold on, guys, hold on. Before you say anything, I'm a dark romance girly, so stalker romances are my jam. Honestly, like, if you get past the fact that they're killing people and stalking the girl, honestly, they're doing it for her own good, if you think about it. So this story follows Bree and Arrow, and Arrow became like my favorite man psychotic man. I love him. And so basically there's Bree is like a head like leader of her church, and Arrow starts stalking her because he's trying to get her to realize a lot of the shady stuff that's happening in the church that she doesn't know about. So it's a lot of like trying to get her to like wake up and see what's happening, and that they don't actually care about her. I loved Arrow and Bree's relationship so much. It was like, it was hot, but it was like, it was also like so deep and like they cared for each other so much. And the confessional scene is probably one of my favorite spicy scenes of all time. Check trigger warnings though, because like that book was like a whole trigger wording list. But I was here for it. Honestly, if you love dark romance, if you love psychotic men, if you love books with trigger warnings, that's the book for you. That is the book for you. But the epilogue, I was not prepared. Like, most people do, like, a happy, oh my god, they get together in the end. And Jessica was like, what's that? I'm gonna make you cry. Bro, why would you do that? Like, why? Okay, we move on. Alright, so to The Royal Diaries, which is my girl Hilary Burton's book from One Tree Hill. It's kind of like her life story. I freaking love her, so I wanted to read her book, and it was so good. It was so good. Alright, so recently, my most recent books, I've read Sicko, which is also a type of book. It's foster sibling romance, but also like it is very like motorcycle club and gangs and all that jazz. I freaking love that book. I love Royce and Jade, their relationship. I know. but hear me out. It's acceptable in a book, okay? Okay, and I love the whole motorcycle club dynamic of it all. How like they called him Sicko, his real name was Royce, and he has a right-hand man, and they called him Wicked, which I am listening to on Audible the follow-up book to Sicko, which is called Wicked. It's about his love story. I'm freaking loving it because Royce and Jay make appearances, and I'm like living. Okay, anyways, so, and then onto my like most recent read, which is by Check. It's a hockey romance. So let me show you guys. It's right here. Body Check by Tegan Hunter. This book was like so cute and so fun. It was such a quick read, like honestly. Like I loved it so much. It's like it follows Auden and Hutch, and they kind of like meet on an airplane. They both have like issues with flying and like, you know, being scared and stuff and of heights, and kind of her more so than him, so he kind of helps her to like not be so scared. And then they have a storm and they have to stay at a hotel. They end up having a one-night stand, And then later on they find out, hey, she actually owns the hotels that the hockey team stays at when they go to their games. Is called the Sinclair Hotels, and her last name's Sinclair. And so they run into each other quite a bit. It's kind of a forbidden romance because they're not supposed to be together, because it's in the contract that staff is not allowed to be with the players, obviously. And they kind of break the rules. They do. It's such a good read, though. It does have a happy ending. So, and it wasn't that long. So, but also, I'm also reading, so I'll have to show you guys, but I'm also reading Hello Girls by Emily Henry, which is kind of a retelling of Thelma and Louise. It's not really a romance. It's more like about like sisterhood and friendships, and these girls that go on like kind of like have bad childhoods, so they go on a crime running spree. It's really good so far. I love Emily Henry's writing style. So I'm freaking here for it. Alright, so I want to thank you guys for joining me on this wrap-up adventure. Remember to like this video, subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified about future video uploads. Anyways, happy reading, bookworms, and I'll see you guys next time.